In part 6 of Family Secrets, I want to talk about protecting yourself. I'm going to take you to Proverbs 4:23, and that's in your Bible. It says, "Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." And these are the things that bother you, the things that you're dealing with, the issues of your life. If you guard your heart, and that's in another version, I think the New King James version uses the word guard. Guard your heart with all diligence. Keep it, guard it. And the Hebrew word keep does mean to guard. And so we want to guard our hearts like you would guard a very precious crown jewel, let's say. That just popped into my head. Let's say you're one of the guards that guards the jewels of Queen Elizabeth, or the Queen of England. It's just a picture to get your mind to understand that you would be diligent to make sure that any suspicious activity would be addressed, okay? So when people start acting towards you in a way that your spirit is troubled by it, or it hurts your feelings, or you're offended by something, immediately learn to respond in a way that is kind, but don't take on yourself what is being said. Now, it sounds easier than it's done, but you can get used to it, because anything you practice over and over, you get good at. Doesn't matter what you do, whether you play an instrument or you are into athletics. Anything you do over and over with purpose you're going to be able to do it well. And I can say this because I'm in a place myself where I have been training my soul in how to respond and protect myself from hurtful things and innuendos and insults and things that either I believe are truly harmful things that are being said to me or done to me, or I'm perceiving it. And those are two separate things we can maybe talk about some other time. But a person who is severely traumatized can perceive pain and offense that's not actually coming from that person. You can say things like, well, why would she do that to me? And I can't believe it. She's always been so kind, and now this is coming out of her mouth, and I'm so hurt. And then we get stuck because we cannot process it because of all the other pain that is underneath it that we've never dealt with. And that's really what it is. And they probably have no idea they hurt you and never would have deliberately hurt you in the first place. And I had to really sort a lot of that stuff out, because I had people on a list. I really did. I had people on lists who hurt me, and I would just avoid them and move away from them, or do something that would just avoidance. And that was one of my go-to processes for protecting myself, is I would just move away. And that's not a good thing. It's very costly. I don't recommend that. But so as you're processing this stuff to guard your heart, you have to have a conversation with your soul. Well, this person has never been like this before, you say to yourself, to your soul. I'm going to give her grace. Maybe she's having a bad day. Maybe somebody she just was talking to, on the phone or something, offended her, and she's hurt, and she just kind of lashed out at me because I caught her at a bad time. So this happens all the time, and we can do that. But when it's a chronic thing, like a spouse or something, where there's a constant jabbing, or they're constantly going after you, repeating something you did and not forgiving you, that is on them. That's coming from them. And you need to look at your patterns, the patterns of the people that you're living with. And if something happens and they're off, okay, and they say something or do something that they would never do, or they don't normally do, you can apply grace and let Jesus heal the inner child and help that child get out of that jail cell, arrested in development, and grow up to the chronological age. So while you're in that process of letting Jesus grow you up and free you from whatever it is that incarcerated you in a world of pain from childhood, you don't have to bring that into every conversation. You don't have to look at everything that everybody says to you through the lens of that pain and that condemnation, or I should say the lens of suspicion, if you will, that somebody is always out to get you. Someone's always hurting you. I'm always the problem. This always happens to me. If you hear those kinds of words coming out of your mouth, most likely there's a pattern of pity. Now, I had to identify, I mentioned in part 5 that I took a class, a 6-month class through Life Skills International. And one of those things I learned is I have been having a very long pity party. And every time someone would hurt me, I would just add them, like I said, to the list. And then I would just go, well, this always happens. I can't keep friends. Nobody really loves me. Everybody hates me. You know, the true pity party. It wasn't always that way, but it was just kind of a running narrative in my head. Like, okay, here we go again. Time to move. And it was sad that I had to do that, and I wish I could get all those years back, but I believe that the Lord is redeeming the time. He's a redeemer, and he can help you through all that lost time when you really had no idea what was going on. And when you started getting a clue and trying to fix it, you found very quickly that not many people are really willing to hear your stuff, and they don't really want to handle it. I'll be honest with you, not many people can handle hearing about trauma. And the human body can only store up so much energy. And we expend a lot of energy when we're working and getting up and just going through our daily routine. So regular life can really spend pretty much all the energy you have in your bank for that day. So when your friend calls and they want to pour out their stuff because they just need a listening ear, you may not have the bandwidth for it. You may be already near bankruptcy for that day. And Jesus used to say something that was very interesting to me, that I always thought I knew what he meant in general, but this is how I understand it now. He says, do not worry about tomorrow. Do not be anxious about tomorrow, for sufficient for the day are its own troubles. Tomorrow will take care of itself, is how I'm paraphrasing that. The thing about it is, it's true. We only have one day, and that's today. We don't have tomorrow because it's not here yet. And when we get there, there'll be plenty of things that we can pay attention to on that day. And we can't have yesterday. It's gone. We cannot go over. There's no do-overs for yesterday. They're all gone. So you're better off focusing on what's in front of your face. Now, when you are severely traumatized and you grow up from traumatization, you have created a way of protecting yourself that blocks out the moment. Not only do you not hear what people are saying, but you don't see it, because your focus is on just not being hurt again. Your focus and your hearing is part of your protective armor. Now, Jesus said, "He who has ears to hear and eyes to see, let him hear." And he would say that phrase several times in the Gospels after he would give a teaching. Well, there are people who were standing right there looking at him that didn't hear him. And there were people that were, listening to him that didn't hear what he had to say. the devil has a way of blocking that. Pain has a way of blocking it. Pain is one of the things that opens the heart's door. And the heart door, and I think I did a teaching on something called the door. You might want to look that one up. But the heart door, when it is open and vulnerable, is when we're in pain or in happiness, like a funeral or a wedding or a baby shower, a birth of a baby, the death of a loved one, the graduation days, holidays. Those are the things that open the heart. Somebody sends you flowers, somebody sends you a nasty text. Okay, these are all things that open up our heart, and we feel stabbed, we feel joy, we feel all sorts of things. But if you do not know how to keep your soul, to guard your heart, you will just be everybody's victim all over again. And your victimization will continue and perpetuate through all your days because you have not learned how to put all of the pieces in the right place. One of those pieces is, am I going to forgive? And another piece is, this is not my fault. And another piece is, that is on them, and this is not mine. This is what you own, and this is what I own. And just sorting out all those pieces so that you can get to a place where you can start guarding yourself and not taking on the guilt and condemnation people just naturally want to pour out on us. They're actually trying, it's like the hot potato game. They're trying to get the hot potato out of their hand so that they don't get burned. So they throw it over at you and they expect you to catch it. And that game is being played on a daily basis by every human being because we're all avoiding condemnation and guilt. We're all trying to fix our own problems. When we have a problem solver in Jesus, and he not only problem solves, he took the pain. And we don't really understand what that means because our bodies still feel things. But Jesus said, if they hate you, they hated me first. And if they loved you, they would, if you love them, they would love you. We try to love people, but if you have Jesus in you and they don't, they hate you. I mean, you're just going to have to accept that. That's just a fact. Jesus said it. If they hate him, they hate you, if you have Jesus in you. So let's learn how to guard our hearts. And let's do it with diligence, get some understanding in this, and start practicing it so that we can become really, really good at it. And then we can walk by faith and not sight, and we can walk in love, because love covers a multitude of sins, and it is a great tool to combat the hate. Love you.